This year I'm going to be playing some Monday qualifiers for the Corn Ferry. I'm going to try to get into some of those. I've had success doing Mondays, and that's really the only way to get there without a card is to Monday into a tournament and have a good finish, and you can play your way on. So I missed Q school this year by a shot or two, and it's unfortunate, but the way they set it up is it's pretty fair. If you don't get through, you got a lot of opportunities, and I know there's a lot of different ways to get there, and I'm going to chase them all. And
so
I'm actually headed to Sanctuary Cove right now to play a Swing Thought Tour event. I'm just going to try to stay competitive and play as many events as I can around this great area we have here.
So when you came out of the University of Alabama, you won a couple of national championships. You were strong. You were playing well. Did you think it'd be a little easier for you to be on one of the tours? And are you frustrated at this point of your career of not being there now?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you could look at it. I try to be a little bit more of a realist. I got off to a good start. I came right out of college and straight into the U.S. Open and was getting starts on tour and was playing, pretty good and had myself in some great spots to win tournaments and just never got it done. And then unfortunately, I got a couple injuries and one illness that just kind of derailed every sort of the last since 2019. So, I had that really good round up in Canada and shot 60 and was leading the tournament and had to go home and missed the rest of the Canadian Tour season. And then COVID year, and then I had surgery on my shoulder this January. So, I am frustrated that I'm not on a tour, but, I kind of got to keep it within the lines and realize that, I haven't really had as many opportunities as some guys the last year and a half, 2 years, just with injuries and illnesses. So I'm trying to stay positive, and I know that I got the game for it. I just need to get it all on the golf course and, keep these injuries away. I feel like the more tournaments I can string together in a row, the better I seem to play. So I just got to keep it healthy and keep myself out on the golf course. And I know that eventually, as my dad says, the cream rises to the top. So hopefully, if I keep working and stay healthy, I can do that.
What do you need, Drew, right now, besides playing in more competitive tournaments to get to the tour, one of the tours?
Yeah, it's something I've been talking about with people on my team, people I trust. That's difficult. I play, rounds of golf with some pros on the island and play these gambling games and try to compare myself to the great pros we have around here. And I feel like my game stacks up. I feel like I've got all the pieces. I think the mental side really is where it's at. I just somehow, can't always seem to get 100% of my game transferred from practice and driving range onto the golf course. And, I can hit the shots and I can put it where I want to and I can do what I want to with the golf. So, just kind of trying to get that confidence in a tournament. I've got it elsewhere. It just I need one or two rounds in a tournament to go right, and I feel like I could turn the corner. And I've shot some good scores and not been able to follow them up. So, it really is just about creating some momentum and some confidence.
Isn't it amazing that you've got the skills, you've got the game, and now you've got to work on keeping your head in that game in order to try and make it on the tour, which you you can do because you can play well.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I feel like when I first got out of college, I was playing with this almost sort of cockiness or, freedom that almost was being young and stupid. Now that I'm a little bit older and I realize that, every single shot really does matter. It's about not caring that every one of those shots matters and just trying to, hit the best shot you can hit one shot at a time and not worrying about where it goes, slap it and go find it and do it again. And the more that you can focus on one shot at a time and not worry about the grand plan, everything seems to add up. So, really for me, it's always been just making sure that I can stay mentally strong. And I know my body's in the right shape, and I know my swing's really good right now, and I'm hitting the crap out of the golf ball. So if I can just stay positive and get out there and make a few putts early, it seems to go my way some days. And the days where it doesn't, you just got to focus on what went wrong and try to fix it the next day.
Yeah, and that's golf. Your dad has won 21 times, Ryder Cup captain. Does the success of your dad put more pressure on you to succeed, Drew?
I used to say no. I used to say that it doesn't put any pressure on me because he can't hit any shots for me, and that still rings true. He can't come out there and do anything for me. He can't practice for me. He can't hit the shots for me. He can't do any of these kind of things. So it is still all on me. But at the end of the day, you got to really look inside and figure out what's going wrong on the golf course and what's going wrong when you get these big opportunities. And I think it's just a little bit of pressure, a little bit of tightness
Yeah.
and expectations, and wanting to make my family proud, wanting to make my island and hometown proud. And sometimes if you're not honest with yourself and you don't really look at it, you can block that out and say it doesn't matter. But of course it does. I want to play well, and I want everybody to be proud of me, and I want to impress all my friends and all my family. And if you're not honest about that, adding pressure, then I feel like you're kidding yourself. Yeah, I want to play great. I want to be one of the best golfers on the island. I want to be a Zach Johnson, a Jonathan Berg, Davis Love, Matt Kuchar. You want to be one of those guys that's on tour for a long time, and that's what everybody wants. And if that doesn't give you pressure, then you're probably not doing it in the right ways. So, it's all about managing your expectations. Like I said, focusing on one shot at a time, because you can't get to the PGA Tour with one drive off the first tee box. You got to string together a couple thousand to do that. So, you just got to stay in the right frame of mind and realize that pressure shouldn't hinder you, but maybe give you a little bit of a kick in the butt and get you going. So, trying to sort of rewire the head to think about these situations in different ways. And, pressure's a good thing. Pressure makes diamonds. So if you can't handle a little bit of pressure playing mini tours and, Monday qualifiers, then you definitely won't be able to handle it Sunday, at a major on the tour. So, these are good learning opportunities. It's a good chance for me to kind of hone my game in out here on some, easy-ish golf courses, figure out how to make a bunch of birdies, and then hopefully get some bigger opportunities down the road.
Well, you talked about being proud to your family and to the island and all the other things, but the bottom line is you got to be proud and true to yourself.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Drew, thanks for taking the time. Good luck in the tournament today, and good luck on your journey, and we'll see you very soon, I'm sure, at the RSM.
Thanks a lot, Rich. I'll see you around the course.
All right. Thanks. Drew Love talking about his journey, his injuries, and weight loss, 65 pounds. All right. We're coming up next with the superintendent of Sea Island, how to get 2 courses ready, how to play the course, and how the greens he thinks are going to run based on the weather forecast that's coming up. But first, Mizuno Golf has always had the best irons in the game. The JPX 921 series offers feel and performance to suit players of all skill levels. And now their new STG 220 driver offers maximum adjustability and 2 movable weights. Complete your bag with a brand new T22 wedges featuring 3 finishes, and that'll help improve your short game. Check out all that is new with Mizuno at MizunoGolf.com. Nothing feels like Mizuno. Reach beyond.
This is Bobby Clampett of the PGA Tour, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. Glad you're with us. Next up is Dillon Stafford, the superintendent at Sea Island Resort, where the RSM is going to be played. I talked with Dillon about getting 2 courses ready for a PGA tournament.
For this tournament in August, that's when we start upping the hours there. Again, our crew knows kind of what to expect year in, year out, so they know these longer hours are coming this time of year. So pretty much from August, September, October, we're 12, 14-hour days every day getting ready for the tournament.
Do you put in any special sand per PGA rules or PGA agronomy the way that they want it? Or is the sand pretty much the same as it always is at the courses?
Are you talking on the bunkers or in the bunkers? Yeah, yes. No, we keep the same sand there year round.
Okay. Yep. And what do you think the greens are going to be running during the tournament? And I know that also depends a lot about weather.
Yes, we're expecting some cold days early in the week. So we think greens are going to get close to 13. We have to be careful not to get too crazy during the week, especially if the wind starts blowing, but we're expecting 12 to 13.
And if it gets higher than 13, what are some things that you could do in order to slow the greens down?
Usually, if all things are equal, we're looking at a double mow and roll every day. So we can take off a mow, we can take it off a roll. Sometimes we'll add a little water around some pin placements if possible.
And does it put extra pressure on you? You've been here now for a while and you've done 4 tournaments. When the PGA Tour comes in, you guys just kind of go through a checklist of things to be done, and then you kind of make sure all those things are done before the tournament.
Absolutely. And we kind of know what to expect was coming on that checklist. So, our PGA Tour agronomists will go out and they'll walk the golf courses, and they give us a punch list. And for 2 or 3 years now, our punch list has been very small. So we're pretty happy about that.
And I know you and I talked a little bit earlier about divots and either filling them in with sand or replacing that divot with the grass that was kicked out. And you said something interesting about that most of the time, if people put back the divots, you're still going to fill them up with sand.
Yeah, what we'll do, every afternoon during tournament weeks, we go out in the afternoons and we fill divots. That's one of our afternoon jobs. I think the players prefer to know what they're sitting on. If they're sitting on a divot that's been replaced, they don't know what's underneath that. But if they're sitting on a sand, ball on top of sand, that they know how to play that shot more than they would the other shot.
Yeah, they know how to play that shot, but most amateurs complain because it's in a darn divot. Maintenance-wise, do y'all cut every day? Do you mow every day? Do you roll every day? Or does it depend upon the weather?
We're planning on cutting all short grass every day. Roughs, we'll give those one last cut this weekend, and then we won't touch the roughs again the entire week. But all the short grass, tees, fairways, and greens get mowed every day. The rolling kind of depends on weather conditions. We're usually looking to at least get a roll out in the afternoons just to smooth things off, and then we'll take a look in the mornings and see if we need to roll again in the morning.
Does the PGA Tour require the rough to be a certain length during a PGA tournament?
No, it kind of varies from spot to spot. So, they'll come to me and say, where can we find a in-between spot where we want roughs, So that's kind of where we determine that.
And where will the roughs be as far as measurements?
We'll cut them 1.5 inches. What happens between now and the end of by Sunday, it depending on weather, whether those get up to close to 2 inches or not.
And I know as the superintendent, you are good friends with the upstairs guy that handles all the weather, or we all try to be. What have you seen as far as in advance of the tournament next week, as far as what we can expect during the tournament?
Like I said, the first couple of days, like some cold mornings, that'll slick greens up pretty good because we're not going to grow a lot of grass during those days. Towards the end of the week, we're seeing great temps, like 50s in the morning and 60s and 70s in the afternoons, clear skies.
And that'll be Thursday through Sunday. So it looks like the weather is going to be kind of decent. Most of the golfers will be out and they'll kind of delayer as the day goes on.
Correct.
And I know it's exciting to see all these big players that are coming and playing both courses. As the superintendent, does it bug you when the guys are going really low on the golf course that you all have maintained, or do you like that?
It doesn't bug me, and I have no opinion on either one way or the other. Sure, I'd like to win below 30 miles an hour one day and see some +4s and things like that. But no, that doesn't bug me if they go low.
I know I've talked to some of the course designers, and they don't like it sometimes when the pros go low on their courses, and then they think, well, maybe I've got to go back and make it harder. But these guys are just so much better and stronger than they used to be.
Sure. And, and we're not real long here, and especially on Seaside, the main defense on Seaside is the wind. If the wind's not blowing, those guys can get pretty low out there.
Yeah, I know Tommy Fleetwood last year, BV told me that he hit a driver 9-iron on 14, the par 4, and then the next day driver 4-iron, and that's all wind related.
Exactly. And, those holes, 13, 14, then coming down wind on 15, it changes day to day if we got a good wind out there.
So as far as plantation is concerned, what holes do you think, based on what you know about the weather, do you think are going to play a little bit more difficult than the others?
Number 9 is always a tough hole, long par 4, number 9. And then 14 can get tough also. We converted that one to a par 5 and we did the renovation. So I think 9 and 14 are the holes to look out for. And 18 also coming home.
And what about on Seaside?
Seaside, I think it's 11 through 15. I think that's where the money holes are right there. If you get around that corner, and even par, I think you're doing pretty well.
Whenever I play Seaside, I always think, okay, the wind is at my front on 10 and 11, and we make the turn to go to 12. I think it's going to be behind me, but it never is. Right. It seems like it changes, and it's always in front of me. Yeah, that 12's a tricky hole, and then you going back down the other way on 13. And 13, it makes it look easier than this, but I think 13 and 14, like I said, that stretch there from 11 between 15 is where I think tournaments are won and lost. Well, you guys have done an excellent job, and good luck on the tournament, and thanks for being with us.
Thanks very much.
That is Dillon Stafford, the superintendent at Sea Island Resort. Now we're going to the tournament director, Todd Thompson. Good morning, Todd. How are you?
Well, Rich, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So tell us, besides our local guys like Zach and Matt and Davis, who were some of the other pros that our listeners would have heard of before?
Oh, wow. We got a really good field this year.
Great.
Thought, last year we were behind the Masters, and we had an outstanding field due that a lot of guys were there and then came down here during the COVID. But, we got guys like Jason Day, we got Luke Donald, we got guys like Chesson Hadley. Chris Kirk is an RSM guy. Charles Howes coming back. He's won here before. Matt Kuchar's going to play. Obviously, he's a local guy. Justin Rose committed the other day.
Oh, great.
So we have some Jimmy Walker, another major champion. So a lot of good ones coming this week. So a lot of good players for guys to come out and watch. And we hope everybody will.
And Adam Scott, I heard, Lee Westwood, Scotty Scheffler from the Ryder Cup team.
Yeah, so seeing Ryder Cup guys out here, and it's going to be really good. The weather forecast is looking really strong, so we encourage everybody to come out and watch some good golf.
And I know that there are exemptions. You announced them yesterday. You and I kind of briefly talked as you were walking down the cart path. But who got exemptions for this year?
So this year we gave exemptions to Vaughn Taylor. We gave one to Camilo Villegas. We gave one to Davis Thompson. Trying to think of my list here. My names keep running together, but a whole group. And then the last two that we will pick for this week will be our two Korn Ferry guys. We have to go to the Korn Ferry Tour, and players from their graduates that made the tour this year. So we'll pick those this morning and finish that off. And our Jones Cup champion, he'll be here as well. And
you said Jonathan Bird was also one that you gave an exemption
Correct.
to.
Yes, sir.
That's
yes,
great.
Sir.
That's great.
Love taking care of the local guys.
You betcha. Well, Todd, thank you. I know it was quick to come out, and I know you're busy. We'll talk more next week during the tournament. Thank you for taking time this morning.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Rich.
All right. Todd Thompson, tournament director at the RSM. Coming up next on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show is going to be Georgia Southern grad Stephen Fisk, who just earned his Korn Ferry Tour card. He'll be next live on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Hi, this is Damon Green, PGA Tour caddy, and you're listening to me on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. Glad you are with us, and we are glad that Stephen Fisk, who won 9 times at Georgia Southern, is with us. Good morning, Stephen, and welcome to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Sure. All right. First off, congratulations on getting your Corn Ferry card.
Thank you very much. It was an interesting way of doing that.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, the tournament started horrible weather. I mean, just almost a monsoon, raining sideways, wind and everything else. But tell us about your thoughts about the round, what was going on at the landings where you were trying to get to get your card.
Yeah, so the first couple days were pretty windy, and then the second day it was really blowing and really cold and, kind of raining, so it was pretty miserable. And then the third and fourth days we had nice weather, and, I was lucky enough to play good the last day and make a few putts and hit a couple close, and just kind of had a bunch of things kind of fall my way.
So, what are your thoughts when the weather is that bad? I mean, I played that day, not to my liking because I had friends in town and they drove 6 hours to get here. But if I would have had a choice, I wouldn't have played. You didn't have a choice because you're trying to get your card. So, how bad was the weather, and how much does that mentally affect you going into your round, knowing that you're trying to make a cut and also trying to get your card?
Yeah, so first off, I had a really good caddy. One of my old teammates, Jake
Yep.
Maples, came to caddy for me, and he was working as hard as he could, trying to keep everything dry, and you know, just work as hard as he could for me. And he did a great job to kind of help me do all the things that, well, I guess I could say he was doing all the stuff that a player doesn't want to do when the weather's like that. And I don't know, just mentally, it's just going to be a grind, and it's going to be cold, it's going to be wet, but everybody's out there dealing with it. Thankfully, I was on the easier of the two courses. I felt like that kind of helped me out a bit, just with not having to play such a tough course in such tough conditions.
So when you're playing in the rain and the wind like that, I know you're thankful for playing on the easier course, but are you just trying to make pars? I mean, occasionally you might have a chance to make a birdie, but you're just not trying to shoot yourself out of the tournament at that point.
Yeah, I think it's so cliche, but you just have to take it one shot at a time and try and stay as focused as you can on what's right in front of you and deal with it the best you can right there in the moment. Because if you try and get ahead of yourself, or if you kind of get going in a bad direction and get hung up on some bad shots, you just got to understand that everybody's going to hit a few, and especially in conditions like that, and just kind of keep plugging along.
And I know you had Jake with you. I talked to Jake a little bit this week, and he was telling me how you were going through the round. It's nice to have not only a friend, but a teammate that's with you that has been in some of those situations you were in. How much did having Jake help you in that moment for those 4 rounds?
It helped a ton. He caddied for me at second stage as well. And after second stage, I kind of thought back about it and realized how invested he was in what he and I were trying to accomplish together. And I've always I haven't been a pro for a really long time, but I've used a couple local caddies over the last couple of years, and I've always enjoyed having a friend with me, having somebody to travel with and hang out with a bit, but also somebody who's pretty familiar with my game and kind of understands the way I might think about things. And it was just a really good fit, really comfortable, and really enjoyable, even in crappy conditions.
Yeah, that's probably a interesting way to put it. But Jake told me that you made it easy, especially on the last day. He said you were sinking some putts.
We didn't make many the first few days, so we were kind of hoping that that would flip for us the last day. But I made a couple 15-footers and then hit a few shots from into the green, 6 to 10 feet, and was able to make a good number of those. And I don't know. I didn't feel like we played really any different. But, you know, some days the ball goes in and some days it doesn't. And I'm pretty happy they did that day.
Yeah, and you know, making putts can really mentally keep you in a round or quickly take you out of a round. So when you're making 15 footers or you're hitting shots closer than you were before, mentally, that's got to do a lot for your game.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I kind of really the first 3 days just felt like nothing was going in, hitting tons of good approaches and hitting a ton of good putts, and, you know, slight misreads or catching edges here or there. And then I started on 10 the last day and hit a nice snap hook 3-wood into the trees, punched out short of the green, chipped up to 15 feet, and had a really hard, slow curl in on the low side for par. And I kind of sat there and thought, wow, maybe they're going to go in today instead of lip out or burn the edges. So it was kind of that thought pops in your head and like, all right, you know, it hadn't been going in. That all those putts that look like they're 50-50, maybe the 50 is going to fall my way today.
Well, you've got to be proud of being the only Georgia Southern player to win 9 times. I mean, that's got to make you proud, give you a lot of momentum as you had going into this tournament. But what does being at Georgia Southern, working with Coach Carter and all your teammates like Jake, I mean, what does that do? It must make you proud to be there.
Yeah, definitely. I'll always be proud of going to Georgia Southern. They've done more for me than I could ever give back to them, for sure. Carter especially, and a bunch of people in the athletic department, athletic trainers, everybody. It's just one of those places that'll always have a special place in my heart. And I think I truly don't think there was a better fit for me in a place that I could have gone for 4 years and gotten any better.
And now here's the thing. Here you had college, you had your trainers, you had Coach Carter, you had your teammates, and now you're on the Korn Ferry Tour. And now you're on your own. So it's going to be a lot different than it was in college. Are you looking forward to that?
I think so. It's a completely new challenge, completely new courses, new travel schedule, things like that. But I think over the last couple of years, I've you know, there's a little bit of a learning curve, but I think I'm kind of starting to work my way up on that and understand what I need to do to play my best golf and who I need to surround myself with now that I'm a pro, and just give myself the best opportunity to succeed.
And now you're going out on the Korn Ferry Tour. You've got a Korn Ferry Tour card, and now you're going to be playing a lot of courses that you haven't seen before. So will you go in earlier now when you finally make your schedule up for next year to try and get more acquainted, go online? I mean, how are you going to get acquainted with these courses that you've not played before?
Yeah, I'll definitely try and do a little bit of research at home, and, you know, use some Google Maps and things like that. There's a system called Decade Golf that can print some good yardage books to have and just kind of get a feel for some tee shots and things like that. But as far as prep for the week, once I get there, just try and keep things really consistent. Not try and put too much emphasis on one week over the other or one course over another. I think it's really easy to get caught up in, you know, short-term stuff, and I'm kind of turning the corner on realizing that you got to think a lot bigger than that. And if you can do that and not get so focused on, you know, next week or next month, and just focus on trying to get better and prepare the best you can, that'll just, in the long run, that'll put you in the best position.
Now you're in an opportunity between now and when the season starts. What's your schedule? What are you thinking about? How many tournaments are you going to play?
So playing the RSM Monday qualifier in a couple days. And then if I get through that, obviously I'll play RSM. But if I don't, I'm going to take some nice time off because I think I need some. But tournament golf-wise, I may try and find a mini tour event or something like that to play in, you know, early January to get ready for the Korn Ferry schedule. But if I can't find something there, I'll probably just roll into the Bahamas real fresh and make sure I'm ready.
Is that the first tournament for next year at the Korn Ferry?
Yes, sir. So the first two are in the Bahamas, and then a week off, and then I believe it's Panama, Colombia, and then back to the U.S. to play in Florida. That'd be the first 5.
Sounds kind of cool to start all this traveling, but the Bahamas is a tough place to start out a career because of the wind conditions down there. Are you a good wind player?
Depends on the day, I guess. But
Depends on the wind too, right?
yeah, depends on the wind. I think it's just one of those things that everybody have to deal with. Hopefully it's not too windy down there, but if it is, we'll just hit it head on and deal with it.
Well, as Jack Nicklaus said, when it's raining half the field, I know I've got them beat because they're already mentally out of it. And in the wind like that, if you can keep your ball where you want it or just about where you want it, you can be ahead of half the field because they've already mentally taken themselves out of it.
Yeah, I think that's really true. That's one of the things I realized in college, especially if you get some crappy weather, or even if it's just cold or you're on a tough course. A lot of guys, I don't want to say that anybody's phoning it in, but I think if you can stay a little more present than some other people, you kind of have an advantage. I don't know how many guys are playing Corn Ferry that are kind of thinking that way, but I think if you stay in it, you'll get some good results out of it.
All right, you, as I said, had a lot of success in college. You won 9 times. You were on the Walker Cup that played over in Europe. You also were the NCAA individual. You finished second to a guy that's won a PGA Tour event, a guy by the name of Matthew Wolff. How impressed were you with his game? And now knowing that he's won on the PGA Tour, you placed second. Does that give you more confidence going into your next season on the Corn Ferry Tour?
Yeah, I think it's cool to see a bunch of guys that you're kind of competing against have success. It just shows you that, and when you're sitting at home and maybe you're struggling or you're missing cuts or something like that, you're really never as far off as you think you are. And the margins are so small, and the hardest part is giving yourself those opportunities to prove that you belong out there. Because everybody's good is really, really good. And all you got to do is put yourself in the right position to show that.
Now, I know one of your mentors is Coach Carter, and you're going to keep in touch with him, I'm sure, throughout the year. I know he's super proud of you. It's just got to be great to be able to have him follow you and you kind of keep in touch with him now as you go on to this next journey.
Yeah, Carter and I, we have a great relationship. I'd call it more of a friendship now, but
right.
He did a lot for me when I was in school, and I don't know, it's just kind of a special bond that he and I created. And I'd say that we talk, a couple times a week at a minimum and try and stay up to date with everything. But I know that he was really happy for me, and we had a nice conversation on the drive back from Savannah last week. It was pretty cool.
What was the first call that you made after you got your tour card?
Called my girlfriend first. I took probably 30 minutes after I finished and just watched a bunch of texts and calls roll in. And I hadn't had lunch. It was like 4:00, couldn't eat anything, trying to figure out what had just really happened, because I got so caught up in the moment, just trying to stay focused, and finally had the nerve to pick up the phone and call her, and kind of let her in on the moment too.
Yeah, well, that's kind of cool. We want to talk some more to you, Stephen, so we got to take a quick break, but we're going to be back with Stephen Fisk, Georgia Southern grad, won 9 times, and just recently got his Corn Ferry Tour card. Talking about what you might do tonight for dinner. Opens at 4:30. My special place could be your special place, and should be if you like deep dish. It is CJ's Italian Restaurant. They are known for their deep dish. They are also known for their customer service and everything else that they have. The thin crust, the cauliflower crusts, and everything is made fresh, including their pizza doughs, their breads, their sauces, dressings, toppings, meatballs, lasagnas, and that list goes on and on and on. The produce is delivered fresh and prepared daily. And as I said, their customer service is great. Just call them up, give them your order. You pull right up in front of the location on Mallory Street across from Parker's, and boom, you got it. It'll come right out. They'll bring you. It's hot. It is excellent. Deep dish is what they're known for. And if you don't know all else that they have, check out their menu at CJ's Italian Restaurant. That's CJ's Italian Restaurant.com.
Good morning. This is David Bass. I'm the owner of Quantum Force Golf, and you're listening to the Back Nine Boys radio show.
And welcome back. I'm Rich Stiles. We're on the phone with Stephen Fisk, Georgia Southern grad, and just received his Corn Ferry Tour card. Stephen, I got to ask you this. I saw some research about your greatest golf memory is with Rocco Mediate. Can you tell us what happened and why that's your greatest golf memory?
Yeah, so they asked me what my greatest memory was as a kid, and I went up to the old PGA Tour event at Sugarloaf in Atlanta, and he was out playing a practice round with Kenny Perry, I think, and I was the only kid out there, and he said, "Hey, you want to come hit one on one of the par threes?" So he gave me a 6-iron or something, and I asked him if I could hit his driver. He said no, but he gave me a 6-iron, and I hit one, halfway up to the green, and then he called me up there on the green as well, and he had one of those, I don't know, I think it was a belly putter, but for me it must have been, up to my chin.
Oh,
So
gosh.
he gave me that and let me hit a couple 8-footers. I think I made one of them, and then I went on my way. But that was pretty cool.
And you started playing golf on a par 3 course. Do you think that helped your game as you are today, as far as your iron play?
I do, yeah. I think that my iron play was the first thing that really developed for me. My parents built the par 3 course in Stockbridge, and I think that opened when I was 5. So I just grew up out there. I still played some regular 18-hole courses and whatnot growing up, but I certainly spent a vast majority of my time out there just doing loops on the par 3 all day long.
And I understand you also use the same ball marker. Now, does that mean same that it never changes? What is it?
So I got a ball marker from True Blue Ball Markers, a guy named Jeffrey Jenkins. He's made some pieces for the Georgia Southern team for the last, gosh, I can't remember. It might have even been my freshman year, and he gave me a coin that's got my initials on it. It says GATA. So I used that all through college, and it's kind of funny you ask, because this past week at Q School, he had just sent me a new one that I thought was pretty interesting. So I didn't putt great the first day and thought I needed some different mojo on the greens, and tried the new one for a couple days, and that didn't work either. So I went back to the original for the final round after putting it in timeout for a couple days.
So how many of them do you have? Can you keep, interchanging them based on how they're doing?
I think I'm going to stick with the original, but I think I've got 6 or 7 of them from the last 5 or 6 years that he's been kind enough to make me, and I've got them all in a little pouch in my bag. Carry them all with me.
So if you lose one or one doesn't work, you can always just change it out and hope that the next one will work after you put it in timeout.
Absolutely. I always use the original for tournaments, but on a fun day or a day at home, it doesn't really matter which one I grab.
All right. How do you handle, Stephen, missed cuts? I know it's not the greatest topic to talk about, but it's also reality. So how do you handle missed cuts?
I think it depends. Sometimes you're inside the cut line and you move backwards and, miss by 1 or 2. And sometimes you're trying to fight and find something. You're pretty far off the cut line and you're working your way towards it. I don't know. It's just one of those things that you got to try and find some positives, but certainly take a little bit of time to be, a little upset or a little disappointed because that wasn't the outcome you were hoping for. But you just got to figure out what you did well and what you need to work on and try and give yourself the best plan moving forward. I don't, one or 2 missed cuts isn't the end of the world. And if you can kind of look at it that way, they may not weigh on you so much.
Well, I know all the sports psychologists always tell you that even in a miscut or a bad round, you got to take a look at the positives and totally have a short memory and forget about whatever negatives were in that round.
Yeah, I think, at the level we play at, you can't possibly be doing everything poorly. So I think you just got to figure out what you did well, and then figure out what really cost you shots that week and where you can improve for the next event, and just kind of make a little plan moving forward. You miss a cut if you're still on the road, you've got an extra couple days to prepare for the next event. So take advantage of those and just try and be ready for the next one, because the one you just finished, that one's over and it's just time to move on.
Yep, you can't dwell on the past. So on your schedule, we've got about a minute left. On the schedule, would you play 3 or 4 weeks in a row, take a week or 2 off? What have you decided, or what are you thinking about doing for next year?
Yeah, so the first part of the schedule is pretty spread out. So I'm guaranteed 8 starts, and I'll be able to play all of those without playing more than 3 weeks in a row.
Okay.
But I certainly think once summer hits and we start having tournaments every week, I don't see myself playing more than, 3, maybe 4 weeks in a row.
Right.
I'd rather just try and make sure my body's fresh and my mind's fresh, and give myself, quality opportunities instead of the quantity of opportunities.
Gotcha. What about caddy for next year? You thought about it?
I think Jake's going to do it.
All right. That's cool. I like to hear that.
Yeah.
That's
so
good.
He's looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to it. I think we made a good team the last I guess in Q school. So
yeah, I would
forward to bringing him on the road.
I would say so. I'll miss him over at Sea Island, but I think that'll be great for both of you to go out there as a team. And as you said, you've played together, you've worked together. It'll work out. Stephen, thank you, and good luck on the Corn Ferry Tour, and good luck in qualifying.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right. Stephen Fisk on the Back Nine Boys Golf Show. We want to thank you also for being with us every Saturday and Sunday right here on ESPN Coastal, the Back Nine Boys Golf Show.
You've been listening to the Back Nine Boys Golf Show with Rich Stiles. Go to back9boys.com for all things golf whenever you want it. We'll be back next week with an all-new Back Nine Boys at back9boys.com.